alaikum, dear students. How are you? I think the present situation is not positive for us to maintain our physical and mental fitness. So I think all of you are not well in mentally, but I think physically you are well and sound. The pandemic situation is spreading fast. You know, coronavirus spreads again in another shape. And on the other side, the weather is very cold. And in a cold weather, the coronavirus can spread so fast. So please be careful to yourself and your family members and stay at home. Don't go outside without necessary. And if you need to go outside, please wear mask and gloves. And after coming back from outside, wash your hands repeatedly. Please be careful. You know that life is so variable, life is very valuable than anything else in this world. If you lose your life, it will not come back again. So be careful. Okay, let's start our class. Our today's class is about the Lake Island of Innisfree, about poem by William Butler Yeats. I think all of you know the name of William Butler Yeats. That means he is well known as W.B. Yeats. William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats, more commonly known as W.B. Yeats, was born in Dublin, Ireland in 1865. He was educated in London and was an instrumental figure in the defining years of 19th century. Yeats wrote both poetry and plays. His early plays were focused mainly on interpreting Irish legends and his own personal spiritual beliefs. Later in his life, after 1910, his work took a turn, becoming more experimental and poetical. During the decade in which Yeats wrote, the Lake Island of Innisfree was in the midst of significant financial struggles. It is impossible that Yeats cast himself as the speaker in this way. Yeats show the main figure of this poem as I. Here I is the speaker. That means through I, Yeats wants to express himself. Okay, considering that Innisfree is an actual place on Lough Gill in county Sligo, Western Ireland, and that when he was a boy, Yeats' family visited country Sligo. Yeats passed his boyhood with his grandparents in Sligo. Before starting the poem, we need to know the background of this poem. What's the background of this poem? The Lake Island of Innisfree is an uninhabited island within Lough Gill in the island near which Yeats spent his summer as a child. Yeats describes the inspiration for the poem coming from a sudden memory of his childhood. While walking down Fleet Street in London in 1988, he thought himself that he wants to write a poem about his childhood, and he writes, I had still the ambition formed in Sligo in my teens of living in imitation of Thoreau in Innisfree, a little island in Lough Gill. When walking through Fleet Street, very homesick, I heard a little twinkle of water and saw a fountain in a shop window, which balanced a little ball upon its jet, and began to remember lake water. From the sudden memories came from the poem Innisfree, my first lyric with anything in its rhythm of my music. Its inner thought of William Butler Yeats. Let's recite the poem.
I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. There are midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always, night and day, I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core.
There are 3 stanzas here and 12 lines. Okay? The first stanza. I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the beloved glade. The poet says, the speaker begins in stanza by telling the reader of his intention. He will arise and go now to the island of Innisfree. In this first line, the word go is repeatedly used. I mean twice. Yeats made this choice to provide special emphasis on the importance of the speaker's action. The speaker is determined. That means I, here, William Butler Yeats, determined. He must and will go. He must and will go to Innisfree. The second line provides additional details as to what he is going to do when he gets there. He plans to create a small cabin where he is going to be the only one living in the house. He will be only one living in the house, and there is nobody else, nobody with him there. He wants to enjoy the Innisfree environment himself, without any family or relations of any kind. He plans to build the cabin from clay and wattles. That means clay and wattles, what is stick and rod. He dreams of having 9 rows of bean plants. I think all of you know what is bean. And a hive for presumably many honeybees. As in the next line, the glade or a small clearing in a forest is filled with their sound. Okay, now stanza 2. Let's hear this stanza. The second stanza. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. Their midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. The second stanza of The Lake Island of Innisfree provides the reader with the reasoning behind his desire to travel to Innisfree, to find some peace. This stanza also contains the important metaphorical relationships that Yeats sets up between the notion of peace and nature. He describes peace as a dropping slow from the veils of morning to the crickets. Yeats relates peace to morning dew. In the glade, he will be surrounded by it. From the leaves on the trees to the grass on the ground, where the cricket sings. Do you know what is cricket? Cricket sings. That means the evening, in the morning, in the bush, there is all kind of insects crickets. Continuing on, the poet describes three more themes of the day, three more times of the day: morning, noon, and evening. And the magical qualities they possess on the Lake Island of Innisfree. The imaginary calls up sequence that further emphasize the importance of the daydream to the speaker. Midnight glimmer noontime glows purple. Midnight glimmer noontime purple glows of purple, and the evening is full of the beating of linnets wings. Linnets, one kind of bird. Linnets bird, okay? A small brown and grey bird, grey fins, that means bird, with a reddish brown breast. Last one, that means last stanza, the third stanza. I will arise and go now, for always night and day. I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavements grey. I hear it in the deep heart's core. It is at the point in the poem that the speaker shakes himself out of his daydream, in which he has described the scenes of the Lake Island of Innisfree, and begins to address the real world. Once again, he states she wants to go. That means he says he is going to leave for the isle, reinforcing the importance of the other uses of go in the first stanza. This constant repetition of the action of leaving his poem to create a new one presents the question of, is he actually ever going to go? He said he could hear lake water lapping with low draw sound by the shore. That means the speaker hears the water lapping at the shore all day and night. This dream has become a mantra. It is an obsession that has come to haunt him, and it is no more prevalent than when he stands on the roadway pavement grey. It is now evident that the speaker is wishing to escape a world that is antithetical to his ideas of peace and happiness. It seems that the speaker lives in a city, or at least somewhere in which he is completely alone. When he travels on pavements in a city, in a town, there is no natural environment, there is no isle environment. Then he feels in his deep heart the Lake Island Innisfree environment, and he feels himself, and he hears from his heart the sound of Lake Isle of Innisfree environment, the linnet song, water dropping slow, glimmer midnight, purple glow noon, such and such, which he finds in Lake Isle of Innisfree, where he wants to go and live there. Both of which are not classical manifestations of nature. The last line, I hear it in the deep heart's core, refers to the sounds of the waves lapping on the shore. The haunting images of the Lake Isle of Innisfree are heard here not in his head but in his heart. Okay, here I think you can understand the literary meaning of the sentences or lines of the poem Lake Isle of Innisfree. On the whole, the poem expresses the speaker's longing for the peace and tranquility of Innisfree, while residing in an urban setting, he can escape the noise of the urban city and be lulled by the natural pleasure of Innisfree. On this small island, he can return to nature by growing beans and having beehives, by enjoying the purple glow of a heater at noon, the sounds of birds' wings, and the chorus of the bees, and of course the bees. He can even build a cabin and stay on island. It is one of the most famous poem of Yeats. On one occasion, it was recited in honor by thousands of Boy Scouts to show respect and honor to W.B. Yeats. Thousands of boys recited this poem on one occasion. There are some strategies in three stanzas. The first stanza speaks to the needs of the body, that means food and shelter. The second of the needs of spirit, peace. The final is the meeting of the inner life, memory, with the physical world, pavement grey. Okay. So we can say Lake Isle of Innisfree is a poem by W.B. Yeats, who writes it to express his inner thought and to express the desire of the poet W.B. Yeats to go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree to enjoy himself there. He will go there and enjoy the Innisfree environment alone, without any company. Okay, I think all of you can understand the meaning of this poem, and you can comprehend or perceive the inner thought of the poet. Okay, you need to write the main theme of this poem. Here is the main theme of the poem, The Lake Isle of Innisfree. The theme of the poem is the poet's intention to go beyond the sorrows and chaos of daily life. He imagines a world of absolute peace. Its name is Innisfree. It is an island with all allurement of life. Sweet birds and the bees hum. The murmuring of the stream will keep the poet awake. On the other hand, city life is full of great trouble. Hence, he intends to make a flight to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. It will provide him with real happiness. Okay? It's the main theme of this poem. And try your best to write yourself the main theme of this poem. Okay, thank you.